Welcome back to the new professional StarCraft 2, where I'm always excited to introduce the best Terran player outside of Korea, the Frenchman from Team Liquid, the kid. It's Clem, up against his eternal nemesis. It is the mysterious MaxPax, the best of the rest. The rank 2 Terran versus the rank 2 Protoss, a match we see it's essentially the Dark versus Hero of Europe. And just as aggressive, just as intense, and maybe even faster. MaxPax starts things off very quickly, so I'm gonna have very limited time to beg you to like and subscribe. Jimmy, what are we at? What? 1,162 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another series, and with Clem versus Mag, I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully the kids' table will make it a little bit better. As these two relatively young players, I think MaxPax 18 allegedly, Clem 20. Well, maybe the years are passing me by faster than I thought. Either way, a best of 5. Terran versus Protoss. We're starting out on Radisson Station, which is probably not how you say that. Inspired by the iconic and somewhat controversial King Sejong station of old. Oh my god, the Adept body block attempt will get the Adepts through, but shades into the Marine firing line. Not entirely sure what he expected to accomplish there. But if it was doing some cute micro to make sure the Adept survives slightly longer and I guess maybe get a scout of the high ground before dying, well, then he nailed it. Otherwise, well, coming in, trying to get a tap onto the Mule. The Oracle kills, I believe, an SCV and a Marine. Which, once again, if his plan was to come in and do marginal damage to a temporary unit and drop a revelation on a base he already knew all the information about, once again, MaxPax coming through. Though I've got my somewhat dramatic suspicions that might not have been the best case. Oh god. Cuts the ribbon on the command center, and then the SCV can die happy. Third command center already done, 4.5 minutes in. MaxPax is taking the pocket base as well with the small mineral. Why is there? Does it start with just 1 mineral, or is it 2? Either way. It is a 10 mineral patch, which means 2 trips from the worker there. MaxPax has already established his. I'm sure Clem will be floating over. Neither player going for anything particularly aggressive. If there was a map for a mothership rush, this would be it. But it does appear MaxPax playing a little bit more on the standard side of things. As I watched a mothership rush beat Cyril on the ladder the other day. That was quite an experience. I'm still waiting for the Hearthstone video on that. It was a barcode Protoss, but Cyril in disbelief as to what was happening, and then realizing, oh, wait a second, I've lost. But that's not what's happening here. I just mentioned it because a Stargate is clearly online. We got Phoenixes on the way. Clem now landing that third base, and it's going to be Phoenix Colossus out of MaxPax. Into now a Twilight. The turret almost finished. Completes just in time. Well, 2 SCVs down, but Clem actually down a dozen workers here. MaxPax must have been chrono boosting, or just more diligent, as of course you have to cut a few workers to get an orbital command, and so on and so forth for Terran. But overall, 3 base economies, and very unlikely we're going to see too much more aggression on the ground, as I say it. Clem is moving out. Does he have 2 medevacs finishing? Yeah. 2 medevacs on the way. Colossus is already done. He doesn't know about the Colossi yet. Very important. Clem... How much... In fact, Clem doesn't know anything that's more than... He is now, for the very first time, the hubris of Terrans. For the very first time, scouting past his halfway mark of the map. 6.5 minutes in, first 2 medevacs. I guess he's got enough information from what MaxPax has sent across, but just not even really caring until now. There is the set of... It's actually 2 sets of rocks, I believe, there. And a mineral wall at the pocket base. But if the medevacs are able to load up and, more importantly, unload behind the lines, things can start getting very dicey very fast. Watchtower used as a bit of a staging area for Clem. Observer watching for any reinforcements headed out. The Cyclone targeted and saved just barely by the Oracle. No, that's not how any of those words work. The Oracle is saved by the shield battery from the Cyclone. Hey, you saw what happened, all right. The words specifically don't matter. Okay, a little, but what else matters? A bunch more gateways coming online. MaxPax heading toward, is that 10 or 8 in total? We'll see when they all open up. Now going for a 4th base. He's filling in the ground army. We got Vikings and a Ghost Academy for Clem. A base like, a map like this where 3 bases are so easily defended is almost inevitably going to end up in a more passive game past the early pokes and prods with any air units. And here we do see Clem, 144 supply, heading towards the higher end of the tech tree, even splurging on an armory. I say splurging because a lot of Terrans, Clem especially, kind of get locked into this 1-1 bio composition, but the armory has so much utility. It unlocks upgrades, it gives you the, well, most importantly, 2-2. It keeps those Widow Mines cloaked after firing. It looks pretty cool. That's not high on the list. I just wanted to throw that one in there. Also, just mech upgrades, mech plating for medevacs and mines, and then maybe ship weapons for liberators and Vikings, but most important for liberators there. Definitely doesn't hurt. Armory's about to complete. 3 more racks on the way. Scans and takes out the defenseless observer. Doesn't want to let him watch. Meanwhile, charge lot. Unfortunately, Clem building the couple Vikings. More Terrans, I think, need to do this. Just have those Vikings. The only threat is a War Prism drawing too many of your units away. I don't think MaxPax has any real opportunity to engage this army head-on if there isn't anything to draw his attention. And MaxPax agrees. He's gonna back off. He's got a 4th Nexus already done. He's got plenty to fall back to. The question will be, how does he go from... Where does he go from here? Are we going to see the mass charge-a-lot waves, the attrition-based gameplay? Are we going to see a tech up into either just mass robo or Stargate? Are we going to add in dozens of Templar in order to either blank or storm? It's still kind of a... He finished up a 2nd robo, but right now MaxPax hasn't really committed to anything past that. Meanwhile, Widowmine taps and strips the shields away from most of the Phoenixes here, but does get taken out by the combination Revelation. +2 ground weapons done. Scanning out the armor. We're going to maneuver around. A whole bunch of charge knots heading in towards Clem's 4th. You see MaxPax with... I'll go to the MaxPax vision here. He's got such great vision on the map. As he knows that the map is always dark and filled with Terrans. He needs to keep control of the situation. You have to take the initiative. If the Terran army catches you off guard, the EMPs will wash over everything, and the bio will collapse with a vengeance. So, War Prism manages to get in. Looking the other way, knocked down, but some charge lots drawing things out of the way. MaxPax has masterfully set up this fight. The charge lots, still 15 SCV kills. We'll see if he commits into the fight. EMPs hit some of the Archons, but MaxPax not diving into the concave. Clem still has plenty of supply here. He's working on 2-2. It wasn't quite decisive enough, and Clem had more than enough units. And MaxPax knows the danger of overcommitting. We've seen it time and time again. A Protoss thinking they have the advantage and then quickly being disabused of that notion. The Disruptor shot opens things up, but the Vikings are chasing it down. A whole Scandinavia of Vikings over here. We got 13 of them against the Dane. And Clem gets hit uncharacteristically eating Disruptor shots, but he's still maxed out. Another Ruptor dodges away, but the Colossi are just hunted down by the Vikings. Down to 1. The Disruptors are finding surprising connections, but the ground army, without the Colossi there, there's just simply no guaranteed damage. And Clem lost some SCVs, but he's maxed out, which means his army supply is massive right now. 134. against just 110, and MaxPax can't really get any more. He's at 78 probes. A fusion core. No. That's certainly for advanced ballistics. I don't know if I've ever seen Clem go battlecruisers in the late game. He's, battlecruisers not nearly as APM intensive as Clem likes. Edging 400 here, MaxPax. A little behind on it, but, of course, Protoss is a little less intensive just on the unit production front. Already, though. Wait, what does he see? Those are, wow, 2 sensor towers pretty much cover all his bases to the sides, and then the units on the map cover the front. Just, yeah, the sensor tower is looking very good here for Clem, but MaxPax's going to try to engage. Meanwhile, there's the fleet beacon at the same time as the fusion core. Disruptor shots, clipping a surprising amount of units yet again, but Clem closing in to follow it up. Another ghost hunted down and absolutely annihilated by the Purification Nova. MaxPax finding the connections, but Clem is chasing down the Ruptors. He's willing to eat a few shots across the bow in order to handle the rest of the army. Yeah, losing 3 or 4 supply a shot in order to snipe off half the Disruptors, it's a worthy trade. You just got to be careful not to eat too much. Advanced ballistics on the way, plus 2 ship weapons, that fateful upgrade that allows the Liberators to 2-shot Stalkers, and just generally, they scale very well with the ship weapons upgrades, and the Vikings have already been doing great. Carriers are on the way. So, honestly, I think this is quite the juxtaposition here, quite the contrast with both Gumiho versus Hero and Oliveira versus Stats. Gumiho with the battlecruiser late game against Hero, who tried carriers. This is going to be a reactored starport Viking Liberator late game against a carrier-based army. Whereas Stats against Oliveira was just all-out, low-tech, like, Zealot Stalker Disruptor against Widowmine Marine Marauder Medevac. I think this is going to be the most micro-intensive split between all those matchups as well. But yeah, Clem, does he have what it takes to beat the critical mass of carriers? And honestly, I think that question is more accurately flipped on its head. Does MaxPax have what it takes to keep the carriers alive to reach a critical mass against Clem, who's finally getting Caduceus React? Finally, he has a fusion core. It only costs 100. What does it take for Terran to use ridiculously powerful upgrades? I don't know, maybe one that was stuck behind stim or something. But Clem with the Caduceus Reactor in production. Caduceus Reactor, the new upgrade replacing rapid reignition thrusters, because Terran needed more buffs to the medevac, allows the medevacs to regen energy twice as quickly, because it's very sad when your units don't have energy. Yes, Terrans were very sad when their medevacs didn't have energy, so we gave them an upgrade to make sure they regen energy faster. We did not give them an upgrade for empathy with the Protoss. All right, don't get ridiculous. Anyways, well, Caduceus Reactor is done. It only takes about a minute to complete it. The Disruptor shot's coming through. Beautiful hit, but loses the Nexus. So, a bit of a consolation prize as MaxPax trying to take that center base. I don't, like, you can just, wow. Yeah, the energy, so units usually, by default, all units, besides a Viper consuming and a Caduceus Reactor medevac, regenerate about 0.8 energy per second. I believe, and give or take, and not give or take, I think it's 0.78 is the exact number. So that means the medevacs are generating about 1.5 energy per second. They don't heal more. Oh my god. The Disruptor shots Clem. Oh my, and he gets the pickup at the last second before the second barrel lands. But he was chasing things down out of the map. There's a lot going on right now to try to keep track of. A nuclear missile is on the way as well. And just, it's a mess out here. More Disruptors. Drop heading towards the north. Liberator sieging up. Advanced ballistics is done. They're not quite using it there. Carriers have arrived. The Vikings are in position to potentially intercept, but it's actually drawing the fire. Disruptor shots underneath. Vikings engaging the carriers. Stalkers blink in to try to help out. Already losing several carriers. The ground army is almost non-existent, though. The last Archon is getting chased down. The carriers return those interceptors, and there's not enough anti-air left over. Clem is pushed off the field as MaxPax adds a mothership to the unit composition. He's able to keep the carriers alive. He only lost one of them. There's +3 ship weapons on the way right now for the Vikings, of which Clem is building 5 at a time. We have the penultimate Protoss here. 3 carriers, 2 disruptors, mothership, shield upgrades, and +3 air weapons. So it doesn't get much better than that. The only thing really missing maybe is Storm, but to be honest, Templar are very gas heavy, and EMP is quite strong. And also Templar don't have an energy regen upgrade, which is, you know, unfortunate for them. The rocks are taken down, but no mules to drop there. The mineral wall will zone out the ground army, but the carriers, of course, don't care too much about it. This army is not working out. It's just not happening here. The carriers cannot do it on their own. They need support, and there's nothing there to deal with it. The bio army, the Caduceus medevacs, they don't heal faster yet again. You know what? It's really a buff to Protoss, because now they have more energy to feedback. Now, of course, feedback did not get rebuffed, but takes down one of the pylons in the main. Unfortunately, the design of this setup here is making it hard for the Chargelons to get into the mix. Disruptor shots, nothing but air. But in the air, a whole bunch of carriers. Here come the Vikings, knocking down yet another carrier. Disruptor shots just finding absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Clem is still going in the main. He's trying to target down another pylon. DTs are warped in, because if he can see it, he can kill it. He's still microing against the DTs. This is really, he's hunting him in his own base. Clem is busy microing Marauders against DTs. He scans again. He takes out the DTs. The hero, 2 brothers. Two Marauders. They lived throughout all this. And Clem, he's down to 168 supply. Honestly, a bit, maybe even too fancy on the micro. But he's jammed into the corner now. And those 2 Marauders, well, they're probably not going to make it home. But they are indeed heroes. Another medevac heading out. Carriers joining up with the army. Well, I mean, the army is the carriers at this point. He's got 7. A mothership is complete. Down goes the medevac unceremoniously. Where the hell is that mothership? Oh my. He's thinking about a mass recall here. Bringing the army to him, but why though? Is he... That nuclear missile! Nukes and recalls and fancy medevacs and motherships. Well, he gets away from the nuke. Here comes the mothership. Nothing in position to intercept the mass recall. He's gonna go for it. He brings everything in. A massive move here. He drops it on top of the Widow Mines. Will blunt the force of it right off the bat, killing a bunch of the interceptors. Still, he uses the cloaking field. Where's the time warp? The time warp EMP doesn't affect the mothership, but the mothership dying definitely affects the mothership. Carriers trying to fight against the Vikings. Disruptor shot. Blink Stalkers blunk forward. Carrier count dwindling rapidly here. Disruptors expended. Carriers knocked out of the sky. And it looks like MaxPax may have just recalled into his own doom. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. As MaxPax locked into Clem's base and Clem is able to get a high ground concave. The carrier's greatest value is when they're able to pick their battles and kind of dictate the pace of the fight. But the mothership says, come on in, we're going for it. And the carriers, I'm sure, somewhat concerned as that was happening. And now they're not concerned anymore because they're super dead. Ghosts, able to line up the snipes on the DTs. EMP wipes out the shields. And Clem now maintaining quite a supply advantage. MaxPax had the army, I feel. But the recall... Definitely more of a... Oh, okay, it is in range.
Never say die.
Ghost says die. Right as it dies. Is there another nuke, or is he just... Yes, he has another nuke. Can he nuke over the top? Is it even worth it? DTs! Got in here somehow. He could have blinked over the mineral wall, possibly. A Liberator's enough to deal with it. Clem Venn diagram scans. He's got 7 orbitals right now. Off the blink, over the mineral wall, gets another one into the corner. Whatever he can do in order to keep Clem busy. But MaxPax, that army was so expensive. He's lost 13 carriers, the mothership, 13 disruptors. Oh my. He's lost 11,300 gas. He's lost 26,100 minerals, both of which are about 3,000 more than Clem's losses. And the standing army. 14 Vikings, nuclear missile launched at the gold. The Vikings, does he know? Does he see it? I think he knows where the ghost is, but he's gonna draw it out of position. Disruptor shot. Doesn't find anything. The nuke still lands and kills 8 probes. He doesn't get the ghost in time, and the army moved out of position and chased down the ghost. The Liberators, overlapping Venn diagram of freedom. And Clem is starting to lock this map down. And by starting, I mean more like finishing. The Vikings into the air as the disruptor shots. Clem sweeps the field. And MaxPax may have expedited his demise with that questionable recall. Maybe as a retreating tactic, but yeeting your carriers, I believe I'm using that term correctly, directly into the enemy base when there's nothing really to draw them out of position was maybe a bit optimistic. So we gotta be careful as Protoss where we decide to send down our massive armies, because it's only lore accurate that they get completely obliterated seconds, okay, in a short amount of time thereafter. No spoilers, I'm just... You don't want to have just a legacy. Zeratul did nothing wrong. Game 2. Clem up 1-0. MaxPax, I don't think you could be too... Even though it was an utter disaster. Make no mistake about that. It was an utter disaster. Still, though, it's not one of those games you're likely to replicate in the series. There's no other map like that. The only other map that has kind of a somewhat odd layout is Equilibrium, the grayscale map. But that is also a very different one. Radicet is definitely your late game potential Sky Toss versus Sky Terran sort of deal. Also, that medevac buff, it's one of those things that is hard to notice, I think. But it clearly was helping. And there's no reason not to get... Like, Clem for a while just wasn't getting it. He would get advanced ballistics and just not queue it up. But for the cost of a single medevac, making each of your medevacs potentially twice as effective is not quite accurate. Oh my god. Get away. Run, probe. Run, probe! He's trying to get those... Okay, he gets the shields back, and now he'll get out. But did he take too long? And the Reaper will be able to chase him down. He's trying to... Okay, he's just making sure that... Oh, wow. This is just mean. Recall! Do the recall! Quickly! Okay, it's too late. He's coming.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine, and you're not really fine. You just can't get into it because they were
Wasted. Though, I do feel like that recall. So the mothership, so far, is continuing its, the daughtership, really, is continuing its role. Honestly, I don't think the role has changed much, which is baiting Protoss into bad decisions. So far, the only usage I've seen for the mothership, especially in Protoss versus Terran, is to make Protoss players take a fight that they probably should not. And for some, like, crazy cheeses, but as a late-game choice, it has, so far, pretty much only been used to recall into questionable positions that may or may not be better than if they had chosen anything else. Alright, those SCVs feeling very uncomfortable. 1 HP left. I think in Protoss versus Zerg, it has a little more utility as Time Warp is probably more meaningful. Ooh, gets the Reaper. And it's going to be Blink. All right, snap back to reality. Not that Stargate did poorly on Radiset, but it's a bit map dependent. And also a lot riskier to open up. All right, Citizen's Arrest. Down goes the heli. It does get a full scout? Yeah, full scout. He saw the robo as well. So, he knows it's Blink. Clem gonna go with the Widow Mine drop, regardless. A staple. His base is not particularly well set up to defend. It's clearly he's making a bulwark against Blink Stalkers. Does feel a bit exposed, though, to the first round of Blink. And that Blink is coming up fast. And he's going to have one tank? Maybe? Oh, the Adept? The Marines. He mind-tricked the Marines into shooting at the bunker for a second, it looks like, but... Widow Mine drop coming in. Spylon did what it does best. Spy. Which is exactly why it's there. We'll pin a couple Stalkers back. Warp Prism on the way across. And now gonna test that defense. I'm not sold on it. Alright? I mean I'm here ready to buy, but I'm not sold on the positioning of these add-ons. It feels like bait that it feels kind of like the recall from MaxPax. I think this has a potential to go horribly wrong. Hey, he's just gonna lose the tech lab. It's only one tank. MaxPax's not really intimidated. Ghetto blinking back. He can blink over the top. Blunk's on the tank. Yeah, another one on the way. Well, starting to lose a lot of the Stalkers here. Tank desperately wants to siege, but at the same time, oh, Blunk's forward. And now the Marines just kind of shimmying around behind. Did he just lose? What happened down here? Yeah, he just lost the game. Well, all right. Well, I'm glad I said something. I'm like, am I going to sit here criticizing Clem's building layout? Clem? The Clem de la Clem? Well, that was bad. Yeah. Yeah, it's way too exposed, I think. He didn't really leave himself a lot of leeway for the siege tank there. And MaxPax just pop with the Blink Stalkers. It does, well, on the bright side, the Blink Stalkers do still seem to be an effective choice. On the downside, it seems like they might be the only reliable one. But that remains to be seen as we go into game number 3. All right, now we got that out of the way. A bit of a palate cleanser. All tied up, 1-1, leaving a best of 3 to determine who takes this European Cup home. Oh my. That is certainly one of the places you can put a barracks. Technically, you can put a barracks almost anywhere. And if you can't quite get it there, you might be able to float it in. But, oh my, all right. MaxPax. It's right underneath. He's very much gambling. There's no Reaper wall here. A Reaper wall, well, 1 would block it, and 2 would scout it. But MaxPax not going for the Reaper wall, which I personally, for reasons kind of like we saw last game, I'm not a big fan of the Reaper wall. It's one of my pet peeves. Most of the time, it feels like it's used against the Protoss more than it's used for a benefit against Terran. But in this specific scenario, a Reaper wall would be quite helpful. Unfortunately, well, the probe will see nothing. And by that, I mean it'll see 2 gases and 0 barracks. So that tells the story, just not the complete one. Zealot on the way. Yeah, he's gonna see it. And the Zealot is mostly there to make the Reaper feel very uncomfortable. Like a very horror movie-esque. The Reaper can move faster than the Zealot, but if the Zealot gets close, it will super murder you. So the Zealot chasing it down. One of the probes taking a lot of damage. Looks like he'll pick it off. Not too bad so far. Could be a lot worse. Stalker. Gonna politely yet firmly ask the Reaper to leave the premises. Not in my backyard. Well, unfortunately, the Reapers will remain around, at least for now. Stargate is the choice. As, well, okay. So he knows it's 2 gas. He knows it's Reaper proxy. He knows there's a factory. So the Stargate can be a very direct counter to essentially the rest of the tech from Clem. If he's able to catch a Widow Mine drop, if he's able to pick up a Cyclone or 2, we know it's Widow Mines, but the factory doesn't really give anything away nowadays, as you can build pretty much everything but siege tanks and Thors out of it, even without any add-ons. It's an armory mine drop out of Clem. I won't lie. This is a filthy, filthy build that has gained me a lot of ladder points. We'll have to see. It's Phoenix first, which means no Oracle, which means no built-in detection, which means no way to deal with the mines once they're burrowed, at least not for quite a bit. And here comes the medevac. Even if the Phoenixes are able to pick up 1 or 2 of them, he spots it. He didn't see the medevac. Oh my god, he's gonna get all 3 burrowed. He may be able to lift that. No, wait, he used it on the Reaper. Oh no. Oh, there's nothing to be done. 5 kills. Oh my god, MaxPax can't even start an Oracle. He doesn't have the minerals and he's not mining minerals. Oh no. Oh, it's... Oh. Oh, he tried to get that one. The observer's too late. He's gonna get another volley. He's sacrifice. The sacrifice, please. The blood price is paid, or whatever the probes have. And now the observers are out, but this is some real fascinating gameplay. Unfortunately, MaxPax did not do Blinkstalker Robo, but instead went for Phoenixes, which means you have chosen wrong, sir. And now, sure, Clem is not in a winning position, but that severely, even though the worker count is not particularly amazing here, it really slowed him down. There's nothing else for MaxPax either. There's no other tech. So if MaxPax is going to bring this back, he can't make any more mistakes, and he has to kind of drag this game out a bit. He has to make sure that whatever Clem comes out with on 2 bases does not kill him, and then maybe. He's got a Robo-Bay on the way, Immortal. I'm going to see double Widow Mine follow up. There's already an armory done. This is a incredible, like... This is one of those, like, if MaxPax makes no mistakes, he may still be in a tough position. And if he makes any, it's nearly untenable. So we'll see. Robo Bay on the way. If he gets a Colossus, I mean, extended thermal lens might be a bit much to ask. There's there's 1 Zealot and 1 Stalker for ground units right now. I believe there are some Widow Mines. I'm not sure where they are. I think he just sent out a drop, and the Observer may have spotted it. So, if the Phoenixes are not heading back, which is unfortunate. I don't think he quite saw it with the Observer. Reaper heading in to distract. Where is... Oh, there it is. On its way around, lurking. Clem waiting for his triple threat. He's got the medevacs on the way. Stim already done. Combat shield and +1. Soon behind. Medevac is just waiting. The timing is more important than rushing it. Reaper into the main. This is such a clear distraction, and I think MaxPax is... Like, he doesn't want to waste energy again. Spylon, we'll see. A Widow Mine. Here come the Phoenixes. He's going to try to drop it out. He's going to get a hold of it, but a couple probes down. And the Phoenixes are out of position right now to intercept anything else. There is a Colossus done. Very important. Combat shield finishes at this moment. Colossus is spotted. A drop in towards the main. All right, MaxPax, you're up. This is the hardest part of the game now. Well, since the last one. He has to block. Oh, no. The mine! The mine! Oh, no. Only gets one. Which, could have been much worse. I mean, not too much worse. There just aren't too many probes here, but... Clem? Oh, he shoots at the Immortal with the barrier in order to clear the mine. Which is kind of genius, actually. But wait, there's more! Oh, no. The Colossi? Not enough? The sacrifice will be paid? Looks like, again, but during all this, it keeps dragging the units back. Clem not taking too much advantage of it, and the Watchtower has spotted the rest. And now, well, the mine is not being dealt with. Oh, the triple drop into the main, but the Phoenixes aren't going to be able to take it out in time, and the Marines will unload. The Colossi are coming back. Down goes one medevac, but more units warp in. Mine will fire again. Shield battery overcharge in the main, but the shield battery is exposed. The ground army, 15, 17 probes. The economy is being absolutely gutted right now. He's been on thin ice, but he's just melting underneath it. The Widow Mines obliterate the Phoenixes. And Clem, MaxPax, you didn't go Blink. You didn't go Robo. You didn't. Well, unfortunate, but not unpredictable there is Clem. It manages to get the mines burrowed. And with it, you need detection. The options are very narrow. I do think, and I've got to dip back into the balanced patch commentary. With the changes to the Cyclone, it wasn't necessarily even good for the Cyclone. Like, the Cyclone is a worse unit. But because it exists, and it doesn't require a tech lab, that severely limits, or not severely, but even further limits the options for Protoss. And that is why I think we see so much Blink and so much, essentially the Blink Robo build is what we've worked out is the narrow path to defending pretty much everything out of the factory from the early game. Stargate can work, but we saw there a good demonstration of why it isn't the most reliable choice. The reason why Stargate is so popular against Zerg is partially because, well, Zerg doesn't really get aggressive early, and if they do, they don't have too many anti-air options. And also, their anti-air options aren't permanently cloaked and potentially going to make all of your units explode when you're not looking. So, but yeah. And Clem definitely exploiting that there. I think as soon as he saw the Phoenixes, he's like, all right. Manipulated them with the Reapers. Not that Clem didn't play a beautiful game. I just think it's kind of overshadowed by the Widow Mines clearly dictating essentially the game from the first time they burrowed up until the very end there. Engineering bay block from Clem. Ooh, gets the SCV. Get out of here. Slaps him with a side blade, and now we'll work on this. So, another thing that I've noticed developing. Another observation, which is a fancier way of saying thing I noticed. A thing I noticed. I observed. You haven't liked and subscribed. If I'm incorrect, I'm sorry. But otherwise, you made it this far. Come. What are you waiting for? What was I saying? Oh, it's a Stargate. A bold move. But, well, what is this? And it's a starport as well. The starport, it's Reactor Hellion Starport Proxy. Clem, having success with the proxy in the previous match, looking to close it out here in Game 4. So the Adept will scout the Hellion. The timing is really good there, as the Adept is able to get away with most of its health intact. The Hellions, he knows it's coming. And is it going to be 4 Hellions? Yes, 4 Hellion drop. Phoenix is much better suited to dealing with this. There's no information for Clem. He doesn't know it's a Stargate. If it was Blink, the MaxPax would only have maybe the Adept and a Stalker, maybe 2 Stalkers right now, which is why this can be so strong. But I think the Phoenixes are perfectly positioned. Looks like the starport actually was a little on the late side. So there are already 4 Hellions out. But yeah, he is in position to deal with this. He is ready to go. And as I say that, Clem just drops him in over to the side. But there are enough Phoenixes to reduce the Hellion count down to less than 3. And that takes away the existential threat to the probes. It's going to be Cyclones to follow it up. But the force of this attack already severely blunted. Phoenix is a solid option. And he spots the starport as well. So he knows not only was this kind of a one-base pressure, but it also was a proxy starport. So that gives even more advantage towards MaxPax here. Ooh, picks up a Cyclone. Can be repaired in the air. Why can't SCVs attack in the air, though? Also, apparently, can out-repair the Phoenixes, which is unfortunate. Medevac on the way back home. Wasn't spotted by the Phoenixes. He's going to continue leaning on it. And I think we should be settling down now a bit. As the Cyclones should be enough alongside any Marines to zone out the Phoenixes. There's still the danger they get the good pickups here, but MaxPax is angling towards a 3rd Nexus, as he can be relatively confident now that Widow Mines are not an existential threat, as clearly they have not yet been utilized. And he's already got a Robo. He's got Observers on the way. He's got a Robo Bay nearly done, in fact. So looking very good so far. SCV is pulled off. Having a Robo Bay nearly done by the time they even get 3 barracks online. MaxPax in a pretty solid spot, as long as he's able to lock things down against that first push. But there isn't that kicker here. There isn't going to be... What did he just killed a Cyclone? Wait. Hellion? I think he scouted with the Hellion, but the Phoenixes spotted it and killed it. There isn't going to be anything to draw the attention of MaxPax or draws units away. The Phoenixes can focus entirely on chasing it. Yeah, Clem. No. Go on home. If you don't bring the full army, you're not getting out of your base. Not anymore. The Phoenix is continuing to shark around the Observer, giving even more info. Colossus being chrono boosted out. Clem definitely feeling the pressure here. He wants to get out there. He knows that MaxPax is taking up behind, especially since he's seen nothing but Phoenixes. Phoenixes don't take all of your money, though they are quite expensive. Colossus is nearly done. Actually cutting it quite close here, but that Colossus should be more than enough to cause Clem to turn around. Yep. Combat shield about to complete, but with only... there's no Marauders with this army, actually. He might think about dropping, but that could end very much in disaster. Concussive shell's done now. Not that it affects the Colossi, but generally. One of those upgrades that sometimes people will forget for the better part of 20 minutes. Up there with adrenal glands and occasionally combat shield, though not too often. SCV. He's actually flying around 2 groups of Phoenixes here. Multi-Phoenix micro. Really, he's really punishing Clem for not going Widowmites, is what we're seeing here. As the Phoenixes seem to have free reign, Clem tries to take some of it back. Extended Thermal Lance is not done. The Colossus just gets knocked down. MaxPax may be feeling a little too safe back at his base. And a Colossus going down. And the Medivacs picking up and getting out. The Marines covering fire knocks down another Phoenix. And 6 SCVs are taken out. Clem has decided Widowmines, yeah, are probably going to be a little bit helpful against those Phoenixes. You can't let them be having free reign. MaxPax is at 66 probes. He's got Colossi, but Clem gave him a bit of a bloody nose there. Knocking out a Colossus, taking out some Phoenixes, and keeping most of his Medivacs alive. That was definitely not what MaxPax was hoping for when he walked up the ramp there into his own base. Rarely do you want to go home and see a bunch of Marines firing at you. It's just not a happy homecoming. Templar Archives about to complete, and MaxPax is still only on 3 bases. No, looks like, well, I said MaxPax is still only on 3 bases. Thank you, Clem, for making that continually true. Knocks out the 4th immediately. It looks like Archons are the choice. No Storm on the way, so Archons to mix in. There's no Ghost Academy out of Clem. There's no Armory. So he's locked into that lower tech army. That Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, and now some Mines. Widowmine picked up half second or so before it recharged. Must have gotten a shot off on the Phoenixes originally. More Mines coming up. The Vikings will drive things away. Another base denied. We've killed a probe over here. The Colossi zoning out. Ground army, well, trying to head in. But a couple Phoenixes will keep Clem at bay for now. Still dangerous out on the map. 4 SCVs went down to the Phoenixes on the other side. But, ooh, charge completes just in time. Clem now goes to Academy. Still no Armory, though. As MaxPax looking to turn the tables. Does he have an observer? He has 1 observer on the map. I'm not sure exactly where it is. He knows that there are Widowmines out there. Draws a hit. There's another one in the back. That one, ooh, retargeting. Gets a good hit on the Archons and allows Clem some time to set up his army. The War Prism trying to bring in some Stalkers, but the Marines from the back line as well. But not targeting the Colossi. The Phoenixes are actually tanking so much damage. They did a great job against the Colossi, but there goes the War Prism. Vikings microing back. Colossus crumbling here, but the Archons will obliterate the SCVs. 23 down in that exchange. The last Colossus will die, but Clem's economy is in the gutter. All right, more Vikings gonna head down. Just Marauders and a lone Marine survived that fight. Unfortunately for MaxPax, the Marauders able to chase things down, just ignoring the Zealots for now, getting as many Stalkers as possible. MaxPax now finally able to get that 4th Nexus, but losing a surprising amount of army supply. The Vikings, I gotta say, the Phoenixes doing their job and tanking a whole lot of Viking fire there. But at the end of the day, well, if Clem hadn't lost those SCVs, that definitely would have been a lot more questionable of a fight. But getting those 20 or so SCVs transferring back at an incredibly inopportune time, that is what made it worth it. And the orbital command halfway dead, which means a lot of damage potentially wasted there if he's not able to finish it off. Don't make a mistake here. It is still good for MaxPax, but it isn't over yet. No Viking outside the main base, and that means the Zealots are going to get in. A Warpin is going to make things more difficult. Now Clem is on the ropes. He's got to defend every side of this, and he has nothing at the 3rd he can really hold on to. Gonna lose 2 Medivacs right off the bat. Another 2 very exposed. 1 out of 2 goes down. Zealots in the main. Zealots on the add-ons. The main army heading towards the 3rd. The orbital itself may go down. Are there any ghosts with this? It doesn't matter. As MaxPax is able to lean on Clem until he breaks. 2-2 will be the score line going into the final match. Whew. Well, we got there. A bit dicey, but at the end of the day, MaxPax able to close it out. Clem with a studious disregard of Widow Mines, I will say. Against those Phoenixes, there aren't too many other options in the early game. The Phoenixes kind of running the table. The new Cyclones, not particularly great without anything to cover them against the Phoenixes. They're much better suited to dealing with Void Rays, with Oracles, things that can't chase them down, pick them up, and knock them out. Even then, not particularly great against Void Rays, but... Two to two. Heckity. My favorite map of the new pool. Looks so good. And, it's been quite a dynamic series. It does feel kind of based around what... Well, besides Game 1, the following 3 matches have been based around what Clem has decided to do. Game 1 was more a back and forth right up until MaxPax recalled into a bunch of Vikings and Ghosts, which... If he ends up losing this, and he's brought it back, but if he ends up losing this, that moment I think we can go back to, point at, and say... Not great. I was debating. There was a lot I debated there that we could fill in for that situation. But since I'm a family-friendly content creator, tell your mother I said hi. I decided just not great would suffice. Zealot on the way. I do wonder if he commits to it now that he knows for sure it's a 1-rank span. Yep, he's gonna try to hide it out to the corner. I'm still, alright. If this game, I better see Caduceus Reactor if this game goes over 10 minutes. I think, Clem got locked into the old style of Clem. That has kind of hamstrung him in the past. Kind of refusing to build an armory, a Ghost Academy until later on. Trying to lean on these all-ins. MaxPax is ready for it. He knows it's coming. That doesn't always mean you can stop it, as we saw in Hard Lead. But not preparing for the later game feels a bit dated at this stage. Oh my god, will that Zealot be able to hit anything? At the very least, it will make things very upset. Oh, the SCV takes a split second too long. The Zealot will achieve emotional damage and soften up one SCV. There's the Twilight. MaxPax, actually, so the final tally is actually 3 Stargate in 2 Twilight games. Because technically Game 1 also a Stargate game. I'm still not convinced. The most convincing victory so far is when MaxPax just blunked into the base and outright killed Clem on site Delta. That was I'm not even sure. That was like a ladder game there. Well, Citizen's Arrest takes down the Reaper. Blink is on the way. Did he see? He saw the... He didn't actually see the Twilight. You can assume, but he didn't quite see it. The Stalker makes it very likely, but it's not a guarantee. I don't think you change up too much of the build. Oh, Cyclone, though. Against anything that... Oh my god, the Adept body block. He loses vision for a moment. Actually locks onto the wrong Adept. Both Adepts will get away. Beautiful micro. Kind of weird, awkward, but beautiful micro out of MaxPax to kind of shoulder that Cyclone out of the way. Through the vision blocker. There won't be an armory with this. And neither would an armory be particularly useful, as it is the Blink Robo build. Adept patrolling. Did he see it? He's moving his stalkers slightly. You can see it on the minimap, but I don't think he quit, because air units have slightly more vision than ground units, because they're flying. This is most pronounced in like siege tank Viking compositions, but that means you have a split second there to react. These stalkers here are very likely just because he knows this is a threat. So he's gonna wait. Is there a prism? It is done. He's on the way across. The stalker's just not quite in position here. He's gonna drop out one mine. We'll see the sacrifice. Indeed. A second mine actually gets out with 4 stalkers. Well, the sacrifice, he's gonna lose 2 probes, but pretty much the best case scenario. He gets the medevac, he gets both the mines. And he loses just 2 probes. So now, Blink, a real danger. Well, the Cyclone makes it slightly less dangerous at those adepts. Are those even filled with Marines? There's an SCV in one of them. But mostly Marines. Siege tank on the way. Clem taking this very seriously now. He's a little further back from the edge here. And he's got the double bunker at the front. Yeah, the Stalker's not going to get particularly much done with a siege tank already completed. MaxPax, though, is not reliant on getting damage here. He's got a 3rd Nexus completed. Should be seeing a Robo Bay momentarily, because he hasn't started charge. But he's going to try to get some damage done with the Blink. He's leading with a Stalker in order to absorb the tank fire. But this was an only marginally mitigated disaster. I don't... You trying to get something done. He got rid of the tank, which leaves some room to maneuver, but he lost 5 Stalkers. You saw what he was trying to do, but that's 2 bunkers, even if it's just Marines. Ooh. Well, he still has enough Stalkers to keep Clem at bay. He's got the Robo Bay started, charge as well, 5 more gates in production, and Clem is bottled up on 2 bases for now. MaxPax trickling out probes. He's most focused on making sure he has enough army supply in order to combat the inevitable bio push here. The triple threat. The medevacs, the stim, the +1, the combat shield. Concussive finishing up. Widow Mine's added in. One of the bunkers salvaged. I appreciate not salvaging both. Another one of my pet peeves on the long list. About 4 of 5 out of 10 level. Once again, not 10 in total, just of that level. Terran. You know what? Actually, I'd put it at like a 3. Terran salvaging a bunker and then like 6 charge lots coming in and changing the entire game because they wanted 75 minerals back. I mean, maybe rebuild it somewhere else if you don't like the location, but bunkers are quite good for the cost and can really pay off unless you're particularly desperate. This is very awkward. 2 ships pass through the night. Neither can shoot at each other. They both contain units that... Yeah, that was a Widow Mine drop that just touched tips with the Warp Prism, which is technically accurate, but a phrasing we're going to avoid using ever again. Meanwhile, a fierce but surprisingly small Protoss army will work its way towards the southern side. Well, he joined up with the rest of the Stalkers and a whole bunch of charge lots, and now it's looking a lot stronger. There was a Widow Mine drop somewhere out there. Looks like it's headed across. Wait, I have no idea where that medevac. He's got it in the main. Meanwhile, the ground army, that's a Colossus, but it doesn't have extended thermal lance. The force field's but a suggestion that the bio stop chasing this army down. But again, MaxPax. Well, the charge lots actually come in from the back. Get the tank. Meanwhile, more charge lots in the main. The Widow Mine drop continues. Well, down goes a Colossus, a single Zealot, or a single Marine, forcing a Warp in over there, a surprising amount. 17 SCVs are slaughtered, yet Clem plummets to a 10 supply lead because the army was completely gutted. Finally, the obligatory Viking is built. More units will go down. MaxPax lost a huge percentage of his army there. He just stumbled into a fight he was very unlikely to win. I'm not sure what he thought he could get done, But even if he thought it was very little, he somehow got less. The War Prism was good, some of the charge lots and the natural as well, but now the Bio Army, an overtaxed and underpaid medevac, is trying to deal with it. But here comes some Vikings alongside the Bio. The only saving grace here is that the units aren't quite healed from their stims earlier. Does he have an armory? He does not, but the Widowmines have yet to fire. The charge lot's trying to come in, drawing the Widowmine fire into the Bio Army. Actually softens up some of the Vikings, but knocks down one of the Colossi. Shield battery. There's some Zealots on the other side, but that bunker paying off. Shield battery overcharged, but there's nothing left to heal here. The Bio Army. Widowmines will connect. Still no armory, but he's got to be able to clean them up. Back in towards the main. How is this War Prism still alive? No bunker in the main means the charge lot will run free. But down goes the base. And Clem, ooh, on the doorstep of victory, just needs to walk through. He's at 135 to 91 supply. Out comes another Colossus. MaxPax. He can't afford any more of these fights. All right, blinking out. Yeah, still no armory. Clem, build an armory. Do I have to get out the pet peeve scale again? The PP scale? No, never. Never. We gotta stop. It's time to stop. Compare your peeves. But not getting an armory when he clearly has the money and the space for it is, negligent. At best. As if these Widowmines... right now, MaxPax has exactly 0 observers. So, Clem, now he's getting the armor, he's getting some ghosts. But his momentum will somewhat wane, as he can't easily move out. The War Prism is still alive. Somehow MaxPax has kept it going. He has not lost a prism. That's still the same prism from earlier. So MaxPax is still in the game. And that's the first step to winning is not losing. Though Clem is feeling so confident, he's starting to just scan for bases instead of even bothering to send Marines out. So he's just trying to make sure that MaxPax is limited to the economy he knows he has. I believe we saw a dark shot. Is that a DT? A Desperation Templar. He's gonna salvage the bunker. Clem, if the charge lots come in, okay, no charge lots are coming. Especially now that he's taking a 4th. What am I saying? Clem is up 40 supply. 2 more Robos on the way. It's going to be triple Robo out of MaxPax, who is slowly rebuilding. I think Clem kind of, well, he's still got 4 bases. Does he have... He has the Vikings patrolling. He's got 2-2 on the way. He's building up Viking Ghost. Even if MaxPax can crawl back up the supply, his army is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard-pressed to deal with what Clem already has on the field, let alone what he's kind of converting it into, which is going to be even heavier on the Vikings, additional Ghosts, Cloaked Mines, no Fusion Core yet. A Zealot dropped in, but finally it looks like the War Prism will be taken down as the Viking is in position. This will all be cleaned up. MaxPax attempted to keep him at bay. Another scan. Looking for that additional base. Blink DTs in production. Triple Ruptor. So MaxPax is on the record saying that the Disruptor being at 4 supply definitely hurt when it comes to that late game army composition. Makes it harder to get as much army supply to support them, or as many Disruptors in general. But there is just nothing else that can reliably break up the Bio Ball. Not even necessarily hit, but Dangerous Force Field is not just Joe. It's something to keep the Bio Army from being able to concentrate its firepower. And the Colossus is good, but the Vikings make it a little less so. EMP negates Storm, but it doesn't stop the Purification Novus. And MaxPax holding the line for now, but slowly getting pushed back. Vikings, another volley, almost one-shotting. Down goes another Colossus. MaxPax is cornered right now. Charge lots coming in. +2 weapons done, +2 armor about to complete. Disruptor shot leans into it. Doesn't land. Another one. That one's big. Holy sh... Clem. All it takes is one. Another one around the corner. But that just hit. I don't know how many. 3 ghosts. How many of them are Marauders? Every ghost is so dramatic. It feels like 10 ghosts just died. At least Terrans would have you believe that. But finally, a fusion core. As Clem acknowledges that fighting a dozen disruptors while running up a ramp is maybe not the ideal option. Fusion core, 3 liberators, but MaxPax, I think with that singular disruptor hit, has kept himself in the game and given himself an opportunity to hold on to these bases. That was going to be the biggest struggle, is 1, defending the army, and 2, actually expanding past 4 bases. But his 5th base, over to the 9 o'clock or so, is now relatively intact, as Clem might be maxed out, but his army composition just doesn't contend with the mass disruptors very well. +3. +3 is on the way across the board. Actually, +2 armor for MaxPax. He got +3 round weapons. Clem got 3/3 as well. How many Raptors on the field? 10. 40 supply of disruptors. Another shot, though. Clem! Directly to the forehead. We'll replace it with Liberators almost immediately, but Clem just eating shots left and right, asking for seconds, and MaxPax delivering. And then Clem saying, I was being rhetorical, and MaxPax saying, I don't even know what that means. The Warp Prism comes in, the Widow Mine makes it very uncomfortable, but it looks like the DTs, he's gonna try to fight it, but the DTs are here. The Fusion Core, still though, able to scan and get rid of them, at least for now. Meanwhile, the army out on the field, Vikings will knock down a Colossus almost incidentally, but MaxPax is using this to expand throughout the map. Clem has given up so much map control. The War Prisms have been so good, and now the Disruptor's unleashing a salvo at the front line. The Fusillade here. Oh my god, another shot! Hits the Marauders on the back line, another one, and the Vikings are nothing against the Disruptors. They're kind of on their own, but the Gateway Army actually clears out a base. 19 SCVs down. The Disruptors are being chased down by the Bio, though, abandoned by the Gateway units. I don't know how many are back at home. The army is kind of chasing around the back as the merry-go-round continues here. But the DTs on the planetary slicing through. I think it's enough, just barely. MaxPax keeps getting wins left, right, and center, and he picks up another one. Clem, it's falling apart. MaxPax has done everything and more that he needed to do. He landed the shots. He drew the army back. He took out the expansions and limited the economy, and now MaxPax has 2-3 more bases. He has a supply lead. He has the upgrades he needs to be competitive, and he still has disruptors in production. He's somehow survived and has managed to turn the tables on Clem. And Clem, probably wondering exactly how this happened. As some more charge lots coming in, still a very dangerous Terran army. But again, MaxPax bunks in. He's wielding a better economy now. In fact, he's had one for quite a bit, as Clem only took his 4th base relatively late. Another disruptor shot. But there was, what was the army value gap? Well, there you go. Another Ruptor shot. Oh my god, oh, that one's targeted. He's just running right through the Stalkers to get to the Ruptors. Whoa. And just like that, the lead evaporates. A whole bunch of charge lots on the other side. Vikings are chased down as they forget they can fly in a moment of panic. He's gonna need another Ruptor shot. And he gets it! The Liberators, +2 ship weapons done, but more DTs. Clem is running out of bases here. The charge lots. Where's the bunker at the net? True. But the charge lots are running in. Clem is bleeding out. How many? He only has 2 orbitals. DT's a real threat. The Medivacs. No Caduceus reactor. And while MaxPax has played a beautiful game, I feel like Clem has left him opportunities here, and MaxPax has seized them with everything he had and more. And the disruptors continue to land, and MaxPax turns it around for an incredibly... Wow. The army supply at half the army's... Only at the very end does MaxPax exceed Clem's army supply. What a turnaround. Able to close the gap. Clem just not quite fast enough to keep up with the Ruptor shots. Playing like he's gonna dodge every one, but it only takes one to turn it around. MaxPax takes the series 3-2, playing some of the best StarCraft of his life. And only getting better. Just the tenacity. I wouldn't have blamed him much for a GG after losing that army and being down and losing his next side, but he sticks it out, he keeps it together, and he takes every opportunity and converts it into an incredibly unlikely victory. But Clem goes down. MaxPax takes it. I hope you enjoyed it. Quite a lengthy series, but sometimes the longer that... No, stop. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, if you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon, YouTube membership, all that. Either way, it'd be awesome. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.